Good morning. I'm Mary, and I'm here to speak to the children. And once again, I want to invite you to listen in if you'd like. When I was about 5 years old, my mother took me to her friend's house, to babysit me. And I was the youngest of 4 kids, and my mom stayed home, so I didn't have very many babysitters. And I didn't like it. And I was naughty that day, Lauren. You know what I did? I went outside and I climbed a tree. And it was a big tree. I don't even know how I did it. I climbed the tree and I hid up there. And my mom's friend, the poor woman, was looking everywhere for me, and I didn't answer. She was calling for me, and I didn't answer. I was naughty. Well, my mom wasn't gone very long, I'm sure, because I don't remember being up there for hours. And when I saw my mom come back, and she was calling for me too, I came down from the tree. And I thought I was going to get into a lot of trouble. But I don't remember getting into trouble. I remember my mom being very happy to see me again. And that's kind of what our story's about today. Our story is called The Kindness of a Father. Now, Jesus liked to use stories sometimes to teach people something really important that he wanted us to know. And, sorry, my assistant again. And thank you. Always happens when I get up here. There we go. And, okay. So he used stories that he called parables. And parables are stories that aren't things that actually happen, like my story did actually happen, but a parable is a story you would start out with words like, imagine that, or what if. So Jesus was using this story to teach something really important. And he said, there was a man who had 2 sons. There's the father, and there's one son, and here's the other son. So can you guys see that, Lauren and Joshua? And Winona, can you see that? So there's the father and the 2 sons. And the older son, he did what his father told him to do. When he said, go out and do some farming and do some work in the fields, he did that. So we're going to put him back here for now. He was doing what he was supposed to do. Well, the younger son said, I'm not happy. I want to do things that make me happy. I want to do the things that I choose to do. And so he said to the son, or to the father, can you give me my money that if we were going to split the farm, I would have some of it? And so the father gave it to him. This is all, remember, a what if story, or an imagine that story. And so the younger son went away with all of his money, and he was having a pretty good time at first. At first, he was spending all the money, and he had people around with him who wanted to enjoy all of that, and they were kind of probably having parties and doing lots of things that they shouldn't do. But, money ran out, and so pretty soon he ran out of money, and then he ran out of friends, and then he ran out of fun. It was all gone. And he found himself thinking, well, he was doing some really dirty work. And there was a bit of a famine. Well, not a bit of a famine. And so everybody was struggling. And so he was struggling. And he just went to somebody and said, can I work for you? And they said, sure. And they gave him really dirty work that he had to feed pigs. And that was pretty messy. And so one day he thought, you know what? If I could get back to my father, I could at least work on his farm. That would be better than working here and doing this. So this younger son turned back toward his father, and he started to go home. And what the story tells us? We might wonder, was the father mad at his son because he'd done all that? He'd taken money and then he just wasted it? He might have been. Or Was he worried? Like, was he kind of just exhausted from being so worried because he didn't know what had happened to his son all that time? Well, that isn't how Jesus tells this story. He says, when the son was really far off, so maybe they could barely see each other, instead of waiting for the son to get all the way to him, the father runs all the way to the son. And he hugs him, and he kisses him, and he's so happy to see him. And he says, get the best robe, and get a ring, and put it on his finger, and let's have a big feast, and let's celebrate. And that is what Jesus wanted to teach us about God the Father, that he loves us. And even when we have done some bad things and we haven't made a choice to be with him, as soon as we turn to him, I read something that said, if you take one step toward God, he'll go all the rest of the way to you. Isn't that a great word picture? So that's the story that Jesus wanted us to learn. And we're going to go upstairs and we're going to make kind of a hug, because that's sort of the way this story shows us how God can't wait to see us. And this verse will remind us. It says, you, Lord, are forgiving and good, abounding in love to all who call to you. Psalm 86:5. Okay, so all the children, we can go upstairs. Thank you.